Now, new, live, and local, and every weekday from 8 to 9 a.m. This is the show talking about what you want to know, what you need to know, and part of Woof Boom Radio's mission to use our voice to build our community. The all-new Delaware County Today, presented by Muncie Community Schools. Now on WMUN, the Talk of Muncie. Here's your host, Director of News Operations and lead morning anchor, Steve Lindell.
From our WMUN studio, we are talking about the weather. We have a meteorologist for that. We're talking about safety, John Catino, in a moment. A presidential appearance at the bottom of the hour. That's the Mearns guy. And our daily local news summary hit time is 8:45-ish this morning. We also have a big Ball State show coming up at 9 a.m. That's the regular weekly show with Mick Tidrow, called This Week in Ball State Athletics. Let's bring in our weather guy first and foremost. He is WMUN meteorologist Paul Poteet.
Another complex weather story to tell today. Temperatures go up and down, and we got a couple of chances of snow. Today, some flurries and snow showers around, especially in the afternoon, when we could see some minor accumulation. And it is cold again. Chills in the teens and single digits, a high of only 22. And then nearly steady temps tonight. Cloudy, 20. Snow chances begin after midnight, and an inch or two of snow in the morning tomorrow, but then turning milder in the afternoon, a high of 35, but going colder on Friday night, all the way back down to 7 with some clearing late. Should be a decent amount of sun on Saturday, but only 18. And maybe some flurries or snow showers Saturday night, then on Sunday, up to 23. Partly sunny, 32 Monday, 40 Tuesday and Wednesday, and probably into the rest of next week. Some rain on Wednesday. There's your WMUN Muncie weather. Back to you, Steve.
Thank you, Paul. For those that are watching the video stream replay, that's John Catino, who was making faces during that forecast, and rightfully so, John, because there have been plenty of reasons to make faces about our weather lately, hasn't there?
Absolutely.
Are you sick of it yet? Are you ready to move away? I mean, come on now.
I love snow, but I really want to see that spring weather here soon.
It's going to come faster than we think. But the groundhog said no. Did you see that?
I saw that.
Punxsutawney Phil said 6 more weeks of winter. What's your comment on that?
I agree with that, so I think he's mistaken.
John Catino is our guest to start this morning on Delaware County Today. Steve Lindell here from our video studio with Jackson Jacoby doing great work for us in the Axia Command Center. Sean Mattingly and Justin Peckinpah making sure that we are on the radio and ready to broadcast this morning. Sorry for the trouble we had last hour. That was caused by yours truly, by the way. My fault. All these buttons and everything, John. Do you ever get overwhelmed by technology?
I'm actually overwhelmed looking at that board right there already.
Well, we're glad that we are here and ready to go. Let's do a storm review to start our segment today. The director of the Emergency Management Agency for Delaware County deals with weather and storm damage and overturned semis and all sorts of situations. But this particular one, in all the years you've been around in this job, this was unusual.
It was. Just because the timing and the snowfall amounts and the time that it did. So, we have, like we always talk about on here, we have preparedness. We always prepare and plan for things. This one was kind of tough just because of the exact timing of when it was coming in. So we had pre-snow event meetings. Hey, what are our county highway guys doing? Where are our EMS guys and police guys? What are they going to be doing? How are they preparing their people for this? So it's a good information sharing bit. So we had those on Friday. So everybody knew where everybody's going to be at come Saturday night when this snow started to fly. And I think it went well for all of us. There were no major issues for any of our public safety officials or our county highway guys. The big thing that the county gets into is their trucks get super cold and they gel up because they're diesels, and so that's our big fear. So we try to find essentially warming stations for those trucks, and we house those in the county fire departments because they have big bays that they can get into.
That is one of those things that I don't think any of us in the general public understand the nuance of some of those kinds of situations. You just mentioned it, the diesel type trucks. They don't operate exactly the same as all of our passenger vehicles and everything, and you all have to account for all of that and a lot more. Was there anything that we may have learned for future reference, with maybe some notes that could go in the 3-ring binder, or maybe the binder up in our brain to maybe make this a little easier next time it happens?
There's always things that you can look back on. The biggest thing is it's an unknown. It's always changing. So you're going to get 15 inches of snow, but you only get 6. It's one of those things. It's really hard to plan for, but all you can do is be as prepared as you can. So, and
you have a lot of good people on your staff, and as far as the interaction that you have, John, with the various agencies, talk about that. How well does everybody work together in those kinds of situations?
Really, really well. I commend all of our public safety officials for that. I can call them all up, and right now and say, hey, I need to meet with everybody in 30 minutes at the EOC, and they'll be there either in person or we can get them on Zoom, and everybody has great input of whatever the case may be. So they work really well with us, and we with them. So
you have a lot of people that are in the field too. What I mean by that is there's like weather spotters. The National Weather Service has that kind of stuff. And you also have these hammy guys. Mm-hmm. I don't know if the ham radio operators were part of this particular situation. Can you tell us about if that came into play with this big winter storm we had?
Maybe not so much in the winter side of things, but definitely come springtime we start getting those severe thunderstorms and tornadoes and whatnot. Those guys are a huge asset for our EOC. They're all spread out throughout the county and always watching and always relaying information for us. So we rely on them and lean on them heavily for spring storms.
John Catino is our guest on WMUN's Delaware County Today, the director of the Delaware County Emergency Management Agency. I've asked him to flex this morning, but he declined. For those of you watching the video replay, you can see the fitness that is in our midst, and it ain't me. I'm working on it, but I'm not as good as you. Your program has obviously, your personal program, and you've had some help, you've told me, with some experts in the local area. Health and fitness is a really good thing for your mind and your heart and obviously your body and all that. I assume that can't hurt you in your work either, right?
No, it really does help out, especially on the hazmat response side. So, being able to move big things or get into situations, it does help out. So.
John Catino is our guest on WMUN's Delaware County Today. Let's talk about the training aspect for yourself, for Kyle, and all the others. What sort of stuff is upcoming, and you can share with the community about the preparedness aspect of what you do.
Yeah, so I think I've mentioned this before, and we've talked the big component when it comes to training is our tabletop exercises, where we come up with a situation or a scenario, and then we, respectively walk through that whole scenario and figure out what do we do, how do we do it, and what do we change once we figure out, okay, that didn't work. So they're really easy and functional tools to use for any situation, really.
I actually participated in at least one of those, and was not that long ago. That scenario, as I recall, was an overturned tanker-type semi on a county road. You had the specific location laid out. Kyle, I think, was responsible to do some newfangled technology with kind of looking at the scene. And you talked about things like where the staging area would be and where the law enforcement and the emergency responders come in from. You even went so far in that particular training scenario, as I recall, to talk about the wind direction and speed, because I think there was a possible plume of odor which could have had some carcinogens in it. Am I remembering that right?
Absolutely. And and that's the beauty of these exercises like this is, we can plug all these real bad situations in without causing any harm to anything. And then we can talk through that. What do we do? How do we set up? Where do our guys come in from? So they're really great tools. And like I said, they can be applied to any situation, not just crashes, or you can set them up for weather events and flooding or whatnot. So they're great.
Last thing I'll ask you, John Catino, planning ahead is always good for everybody. Talking about families and businesses, you have a lot of resources available. It might sound repetitive to me to ask you every time you're in here, but that's how people get accustomed to such things. Tell them how to get those resources. You have a lot of links. You have a lot of knowledge that you share with the community all the time.
We, obviously our Facebook page has a lot of following, a lot of good information on there. Ready.gov is another one. They have a lot of preparedness pamphlets and brochures and information. So that one has the best probably. But
all right.
Absolutely.
John Catino, anything we haven't covered this morning that you'd like to share with the community before we let you go and do your real work today?
Just keep sending those prayers out for warm weather.
I got that right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve.
John Catino, our guest, as we get the hour underway. This is every day 8 to 9 a.m. live in Muncie, Indiana, USA. We're building towards the bottom of the hour when President Mearns will join us via the Zoom room method. We're in our Axia Command Center and also in the video studio this morning for Delaware County Today on WMUN.
This President's Day, Pure Talk is honoring Jackson and Lincoln by offering unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data for just $25 a month. Meanwhile, Big Wireless is honoring Ben Franklin by charging families hundreds of dollars for the same 5G coverage. What? Franklin wasn't even a president. Hang on to those Benjamins. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and save 50% off your first month. That's pound 250, Mike Rowe, to switch to an American wireless company that's truly unprecedented. Pure Talk.
Welcome back to Winter Hack Radio, the place for clever hacks to survive the season. Icy driveway? Well, try spreading sand or birdseed to help with traction. Snowy puppy paws? Well, grab a whisk, brush it off, done. Catch COVID-19? Well, just get...
Actually, there's no hack for COVID-19. But if you test positive, prescription medications for COVID exist. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Hey, it's Jonas Knox, and this Sunday, Redfin is kicking off an even bigger game during Rocket and Redfin's Big Game Commercial. Redfin's giving away $1 million home in an epic, never-been-done-before scavenger hunt, all on the Redfin app. Watch closely. The $1 million home is hidden in the ad. The winner will be the first to solve 6 clues and find the $1 million home on the Redfin app. Download and update the Redfin app to play Redfin's Great American Home Search presented by Rocket.
No purchase necessary. 50 U.S. D.C. must be age and majority. Visit thegreatamericanhomesearch.com for official rules.
Hey, it's Jonas Knox. You ever feel like running a business is just nonstop? Every day's game day? That's why going pro with Lenovo Pro just makes sense. You get real one-on-one advice, IT solutions, and gear that's built to help you stay ahead of the competition. So whether you're scaling up, hiring up, or just trying to keep up, go pro. Because when your tech works harder, your business does too. Business goes pro with Lenovo Pro, so sign up free today at Lenovo.com.
Lenovo.
Want to hear more? Replays uploaded daily on WMUNmuncie.com. Now back to Delaware County Today with Steve Lindell, presented by Muncie Community Schools.
As we ready for the arrival virtually of President Jeffrey Mearns. That's bottom of hour. It's about 8:19 right now. In fact, it's exactly 8:19. Let's get a snapshot of your day today.
It's February 5th, and this is your Fox Daily Snapshot. Today is National Weather Person's Day.
I'm always reminded that weather is the one thing we all experience together on the planet.
We should all honor the hard work of meteorologists like Fox's Janice Dean, forecasters, storm chasers, and spotters whose efforts help to keep millions of us safe in hard-hit areas of the country. Also on this date, in 1921, the New York Yankees purchased 20 acres of land in the Bronx, New York. It would eventually become the home of Yankee Stadium. In 1994, white supremacist Byron de la Beckwith was finally convicted for the 1963 murder of civil rights leader Medgar Evers, who was gunned down in the driveway of his Jackson, Mississippi home. Born on this day, baseball legend Hammerin' Hank Aaron, born in 1934. Actor-comedian Tim Meadows, born in 1961. I'm CJ Papa. That's your Fox Daily Snapshot.
On WMUN, News Talk, Sports Talk, Community Talk. For those of you that are listening outside of the immediate area, I do not have access to my computer screen to see such listeners. I assume Mama in Minnesota and Roger is probably listening. Hello. Sister Sherry was the one that let me know in the first place that we had a technological problem last hour. Sherry, you are tech support. And we're glad that we got it up and running and all things course corrected. And of all of our listeners, we appreciate the ones listening locally on the 92.5 FM, the 1340 AM. And any way you consume us, please tell a friend to do the same thing. We want to share the news of Muncie, Delaware County and beyond, and we do that every day for those purposes. Next item this morning, here's something you might not know, but people should probably be talking about it.
Military Matters.
The New START Treaty, the last remaining arms control treaty between the U.S. and Russia, expired Thursday. Former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev calls the decision regrettable. The Trump administration decided not to negotiate or sign a one-year extension. Retired Admiral Charles Richard oversaw America's nuclear stockpile.
Russia has been very successful at adding capability that is not covered by the treaty.
Russia will now start mounting additional warheads on its long-range missiles, warns Rose Gottemoeller, who negotiated the original treaty.
Refusing the one-year extension on New START limits gives Putin an easy diplomatic win that should have been the president's.
New START capped the number of deployed nuclear warheads to 1,550 for each side and enabled on-site inspections. Russia halted inspections in 2023 but kept to warhead limits. A new arms race is likely without the New START treaty. For Military Matters in Washington, Jennifer Griffin, Fox News.
On WMUN, it's 8:22 in the morning in Muncie, Indiana, USA. You can adjust your time zone for wherever you are listening. In our Zoom room, we see, do not hear yet, but we will, President Jeffrey Mearns. We are connected and about 6 minutes away. He's always early. He's one of those guys, he's one of those human beings that says, 15 minutes early is on time. I'm going to look at the screen. He's nodding. He's nodding and smiling like he always does. Okay, so we're starting 9 above zero today. Paul Poteet on National Weather Person's Day, as was just mentioned. 23 this afternoon. That's better. And then maybe some snow chances late tonight and part of Friday. I don't think it'll be enough to close the Ball State campus this time. That happened once in forever, and I'll probably talk to President Mearns about that in just a moment. This is live radio on WMUN. Next item on our list, Fox's Tanya J. Powers has more about an iconic landmark for the civil rights movement.
Celebrating Black History Month.
Claiborne Temple is a civil rights institution in Memphis. It's where the sanitation strike was organized that brought Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to the city. The iconic I Am a Man signs were made in its basement. Calvin Taylor, a reporter for the Memphis Commercial Appeal at the time, recalled that being the temple's role.
All of the other efforts to galvanize the black community at that time took place at Claiborne Temple.
The church has stood since the late 1800s and has been a symbol of of the black community since 1949, when an AME congregation bought it. But as Fox 13 reported last April,
Memphis loses a landmark from the movement of the 1960s. Drone 13 captured the Claiborne Temple up in flames.
The fire was ruled arson. The interior was destroyed, but the outer framework still stands. That alone gave the community hope and jump-started an effort to redesign, rebuild, and resurrect Claiborne Temple. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
Thank you, Tanya. As I bring in visually for our video viewers, President Mearns not wearing red. That is unheard of. It's very rare, but visually in the Zoom room, you'll get his audio on the radio next here on WMUN.
The new year is just getting started, and we have big plans, new local shows, even more local news, expansion of our coverage into even more video, and an expanded and rebranded morning show hosted by Steve Lindell. It's all in our continuing effort to use our voice to build and connect our community. 92.5 FM, 1340 AM, and on Alexa's Say Play WMUN.
Game day starts before kickoff. Get ready for the big game with help from Menards. Find great deals on sofas and recliners to keep guests comfortable all game long. Score big savings and stock up on game day goodies. Shop a variety of snacks and drinks to keep your party fueled up. Make Menards a part of your game plan. Shop in store or on Menards.com and save big money.
Save big money at Menards.
Hey, it's Jonas Knox, and this Sunday, Redfin is kicking off an even bigger game during Rocket and Redfin's Big Game Commercial. Redfin's giving away $1 million home and an epic, never-been-done-before scavenger hunt, all on the Redfin app. Watch closely. The $1 million home is hidden in the ad. The winner will be the first to solve 6 clues and find the $1 million home on the Redfin app. Download and update the Redfin app to play Redfin's Great American Home Search presented by Rocket.
No purchase necessary. 50 U.S. D.C. must be age of majority. Visit thegreatamericanhomesearch.com for official rules.
The big game is in Santa Clara, but with the original Louisiana hot sauce, make it Louisiana hot wherever you'll watch it. And, well, you'll be ready with peppers, vinegar, and salt. They go together so well, after each saucy score, you'll want to go back for 2. And yep, that's Louisiana hot. On any food, anywhere, you'll watch the big game. Make it a little more Louisiana and a lot more delicious with the original Louisiana hot sauce. Why? That's Louisiana hot. Buy you some.
Want to hear more? Replays uploaded daily on WMUNmuncie.com. Now back to Delaware County Today with Steve Lindell, presented by Muncie Community Schools.
He is clearly one of our favorite guests. He is the president of a mid-major university. Jeffrey Mearns in our Zoom room right now and talking to me on the WMUN. How are you, Mr. President?
I'm doing very well, Steve. How are you today? And,
always better when I'm talking to fine people like you. I just always am.
Thank you. Well, and I appreciate you recognizing that I came early.
Oh, yeah.
For folks as important as you, I don't want to be late.
Let's talk about the weather situation that we had, all of us had, and worked through. Rare is the time, Mr. President, that Ball State chooses to close the campus, even for one singular day. That was a big one, wasn't it?
Yeah, so that was a week ago Monday. And as you know, that was a combination of about the volume of the snow and also how cold it was. And so really there were 2 factors that we were looking at. One was we wanted to ensure the safety of our students and our faculty and staff when they're either coming to campus or, walking around, driving around on campus. But also by not having a lot of folks on campus, it gave our outstanding groundskeepers, our grounds and facilities people, the time and the space to clean the lots, to plow the streets, and to plow and sweep the pathways. So that by taking that extra day, it gave them a chance to ensure that by Tuesday, all of those pathways and parking lots were clear. So those are the 2 principal factors we looked at. But yes, it's rare. I think there's only been one other occasion since I'm in the 9th year. There's only been one other occasion we've done that, and that other one was primarily because it was just too darn cold.
Oh, was that a cold one? I don't remember that one. I mean, I was here for it, but my memory fades.
The air
Ball State.
temperature, I think, was like the air before the wind chill. It was like minus 12 or minus 15. It was a real bad cold.
That is a memory that we will hopefully soon forget. Ball State President Jeffrey Mearns, our guest on WMUN's Delaware County Today. Next item on my list of agendas items here. Headline from IPR recently, Mearns not optimistic about restoration of state funding cuts to state universities. What needs to, what you hope will be done in those regards, Mr. President?
Yeah. So first of all, a little context for that question and answer. First of all, as you recall, Steve, and maybe some of your listeners do, in the last budget, the biennial budget that we're now in the first year of, because of a really difficult, dismal revenue forecast in April, just before they completed the budget, April last year, the General Assembly reduced state operating appropriations for all public higher education by 5%, and then authorized the governor to hold back another 5%. Then I think you reported several weeks ago, the most recent revenue forecast was much more favorable. I think there was a swing to the positive of about maybe $1.1 billion. So the question I was asked was in light of that revenue forecast, did I think there would be restoration during the current biennium? And the answer is, I was down in the Capitol building yesterday speaking with some members of the General Assembly. There's no appetite. I think there's actually no precedent for reopening the budget during a biennial session just because the revenue forecast has changed. So I don't think there's any chance that the appropriation reductions will be eliminated or restored in this biennial budget. Now, of course, Governor Braun, still retains the ability in his discretion to release the 5% holdback. So we've not had a conversation with the governor and his staff about that possibility. That I would say is a possibility, not necessarily a likelihood.
A point of clarification on that last part there, and you can't predict what the governor would do or what he's thinking about. If he did, you said, release the 5% holdback, would that be something that a governor can do without the legislature approving? I'm just trying to understand how that works.
Yes, correctly. It's entirely within the governor's discretion to manage the state, the budgets for his state agencies and then for state educational institutions. Yes, that authority is delegated to him through the statute. So we'll monitor that situation, but also the conversations we were having yesterday it's still a ways away, but this time next year, the legislature will be convening in their biennial budget session. And so the questions we are asking is, how can we advocate for Ball State and for education more broadly to restore what was reduced in this biennium for the fiscal 28 and 29 years? And so I'm optimistic always by nature. Of course, it will depend upon the state of the economy and the other needs in the budget. We understand the challenges that our elected officials face in managing a complex budget. But we believe, certainly from the perspective of Ball State, that we deliver an outstanding return on the state taxpayer investments in Ball State University.
Ball State President Jeffrey Mearns, our guest. I'm Steve Lindell. This is WMUN's Delaware County Today. Recent honor, an online honor. You're 6 of top 5 rankings in some online programs. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so it's interesting that you asked, Steve, because you probably heard me say before, I have a confession. Okay. I've probably confessed before. I'm not a big fan of U.S. News rankings. They rely on a lot of subjective and impressionistic. I'm a bigger fan on ratings or rankings that are based on objective data as opposed to subjective perceptions. Okay. But in this instance, we'll celebrate the good news. Yeah, there were 6 programs that were in the top 10 or 15 in their on their rankings of online programs. And so, we've got a business analytics. It's a concentration within our MBA. I think that was in the top 10 in the country. There were several programs master's programs within our teachers college around ABA, applied behavioral analysis, and other areas related to education. So as you may know, particularly from the graduate level, the vast majority of our undergraduate students are on campus. They may take an online course, but they're on campus. A very high percentage of our graduate students, though, are fully online. And so to have those rankings is a testament to why so many students all across the country are enrolling in our online graduate programs.
You got to be able to reach the students in all the ways that they want to be reached in the world that is today. Ball State President Jeffrey Mearns, our guest. You have a Pulitzer Prize winning author coming to town soon, and I want to know, is Dave coming with him, because he's in the title line here?
Yeah, well, it's the lecture that David Letterman's funding has supported.
Yeah.
I don't anticipate he'll be in attendance, but yes, John Meacham, who, as you said, is a Pulitzer Prize winning author, renowned historian. Excuse me, Steve.
Oh, you okay there?
Yeah, just a little sneeze. Excuse me.
Bless
yeah,
you.
So John Meacham is coming on March 31st in Pruce Hall. It's in the evening. I don't know whether it's 6 or 7 o'clock. The program is free and open to the public, but people need to obtain tickets in advance. We anticipate that it's probably going to be a full auditorium. So go online to procure one of those tickets.
Okay.
The one thing I'll say is, he's got a recent book out called The Soul of America, The Battle for Our Better Angels. And I've not yet read his book. I've read and heard him speak before, read some of his stuff before. I'm interested to hear that lecture because I think you and I have talked about this both on air and off air. We all need to do a better job to find a way to build bridges across the issues that divide us in our community and in our country. So I'm interested to hear his thoughts in regard so that, like you, I can be someone who builds a stronger, more unified community.
Very well put. That's President Jeffrey Mearns, our guest. Moving on to some other topics here related to Ball State's overseeing of the Muncie Community Schools. If you could verbalize for our listeners, how unique is it in Indiana, even nationally, for a university like Ball State to oversee an entire public school district? This is not normal, right?
No, it's beyond distinctive. We believe it is in fact unique, one of a kind. To our knowledge, and no one has said otherwise, there's never been a public university in the United States that has joined a partnership like the one that we have with the entire Muncie Community School System. Several years ago, probably now 20, 30 years ago, a private college, I can't remember whether it was Boston College or Boston University, had a short-term contractual relationship with a small community in the Boston metropolitan area. It was not as robust and enduring as ours. That's the only thing that's even close, and that was a private institution with a small metropolitan school district.
A listener question on that topic wondered how, if anything, does Ball State need to report to the state of Indiana about benchmarks or progress or anything like? Is there any sort of system that's in place that they have expectations and need to get information coming from you about the partnership?
Yes. So at the outset of the partnership, we were given a year, that I mean the university and the administration at MCS, to develop a long-term strategic plan. That plan needed to be submitted to the General Assembly and to the governor, and I think to the Department of Education, the State Department of Education. And then the statute requires on an annual basis for us to collectively report that progress. Those are very robust reports. They're 30, 40, 50 pages long of narrative and data across many dimensions: academic outcomes, enrollment, financial performance, and the like. So those are all publicly accessible documents. I don't know whether they're located on a website, but they are submitted to the state so that there is an accountability mechanism for the partnership built into the statute, which we think was appropriate given the nature of an appointed school board as opposed to an elected school board.
WMUN's Delaware County Today, talking to Ball State President Jeffrey Mearns. Let's go to athletics now. Men's basketball had a winning streak since last we spoke. The women's basketball team continues to roll. Gymnastics is home Sunday. The men's volleyball team is tough. How bullish are you on your Cards right now?
Boy, I can hear the excitement in your voice, Steve. Yeah. The men won 3 MAC games in a row.
Yeah.
Fortunately, that came to an end on Tuesday night, but notwithstanding the outcome, those young men are playing hard. They're playing hard. Last night, Jennifer and I were courtside to watch our women just trounce Northern Illinois. I think we were up by 42 points at one point. So they're just I think a half game behind Miami in the standings in the MAC. As you said, men's volleyball, they play tonight and tomorrow night at home in Worthen Arena. They're ranked number 9 in the country. I think they're number 1 in MIVA, their conference. Gymnastics won a meet, I think, last weekend, and they'll be home this Sunday.
Yeah.
I think it's at 1 o'clock in Worthen Arena. So it's going to be a busy weekend in Worthen Arena just again. And as you said, I'm bullish on Cardinals, not simply because they do so well in competition, but as I've said so many times, they excel in the classroom, and as you know, Steve, the way they represent us on campus, in the community, and all across the country when they travel, I am proud to be associated with them, and I hope all that are listening, please judge them not merely, of course you need to hold them accountable by wins and losses, but also please support them because of the way they represent us and the way they excel in the classroom.
That is a lot to be said by a president of a mid-major university that is exceedingly competitive. Oh, President Mearns, he likes to win.
There's a reason why they have a scoreboard, Steve.
Right. Let's go
Like in
baseball
cornhole.
because they have a Sunday thing too. You mentioned, there's a Saturday thing. This is when Coach Maloney brings the guys out and does a big, fun, day-long activity. Hit on that for just a little bit, if you
Yeah,
would.
there are a variety of activities for the community and young kids through the day, and then there's a dinner on Saturday night, the annual first pitch dinner. As you know, Coach Maloney and those young men, year in and year out, are fighting for a MAC championship. I had a chance to visit with the team about last week sometime, and they're looking forward. Now, as I look out the window here, I don't think we're going to see a first pitch outside here in Muncie, Indiana. My guess is that when they kick off the season, it's going to be in a warmer climate someplace in the south or southwest.
I had Coach Maloney on this program last week to talk about that day long of events. There's a hitting clinic for kiddos to start the day, and you can see all this information on the Ball State Athletics website. You can get tickets for the hitting clinic and or the dinner in the evening time.
They invited me to the dinner. They didn't invite me to the hitting clinic because
But I promised Coach Maloney, though, that I would advocate, going back to the weather for a second, the facility, of course, is incredible today as compared to just several years ago. The locker room thing is the next thing to come on. But what I told Coach Maloney is, and you were going to be on with me today, that I would advocate for the dome. Can you get that added over to, just take weather completely out of play, President Mearns?
So would you like a long explanation or a short answer to your question?
Let's go short.
No.
Okay, very good.
But you do need to mention, you're right, we will begin construction on new locker room facilities for both baseball and our outstanding women's softball, led by Coach Pena. And I want to do a shout out on the radio. Those projects are made possible because of an exceptionally generous gift from Katie and Mike Shebeck. Mike is a Ball State graduate, pitcher on the Ball State team, and he's a very successful businessman, wonderful family, and we're grateful to Katie and Mike for their very generous support of baseball and softball.
And President Mearns, we're grateful for you and the work you're doing on the front lines, behind the scenes, and representing the university and our community in such incredible ways. We always look forward to these conversations. There's a lot of good stories to tell, and we're glad that you're willing and able to tell them to us, sir.
Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity, and thank you, Steve, and look forward to spring. Let's hope it's coming.
Yeah, the groundhog said no. I don't know if you caught that report.
I don't trust that little weasel.
Weasel, rat, we got all kinds of bad words for that one. Thank you, President Mearns. Appreciate it as we continue here on WMUN's Delaware County Today. Next item is on our run list here towards the back page. Watching on Sunday the big game for those that can't.
This is House Call for Health, bringing the Super Bowl to blind and low vision fans. At this year's game in Santa Clara between the Seattle Seahawks and New England Patriots, some will get to experience the game using a tactile device that tracks the ball. It vibrates on big plays and also has audio in real time. The NFL partnered with One Court and Ticketmaster for the pilot program at certain games this season, and now 10 people will get to try it at the big game. The One Court website describes how it works. They use ball and player positional data that's tracked and translated into haptic language, which feels like a series of trackable vibrations on the surface of a device. Using Wi-Fi or 5G, they can transmit trackable vibrations on the surface of a device that has the shape of the field or a court on it. One Court is also working with the NBA and Major League Baseball for its devices and is looking to make them available for the NHL, too. For more health news, go to foxnewshealth.com. House Call for Health. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
On WMUN, News Talk, Sports Talk, Community Talk, and our local news summary next on WMUN.
This is Inside Indiana Business Radio. I'm Alex Brown. The Indiana Chamber of Commerce on Wednesday awarded the Coolest Thing Made in Indiana award to Elkhart Brass Manufacturing for its unique glow-in-the-dark smooth-bore nozzle, which is used by firefighters to quickly identify equipment in low-visibility environments. Vice President Chris Martin.
We think we make a really cool product, but this just kind of gives you some more validation that everybody else thinks so too.
Shipshawana-based Stone Horses was this year's runner-up in the online bracket-style competition. Louisville-based Conco will be joined by local and federal officials today to cut the ribbon on its expanded facility in Scottsburg. The company, which manufactures ammunition containers for the U.S. military, is celebrating the completion of the $71.4 million expansion first announced in 2024. From the number one source for Indiana business news, this is Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Serving Indiana means being ready for growing energy demands. At Duke Energy, we're adding more power to the grid and working on hundreds of local projects to make your energy more reliable. We've strengthened nearly 20,000 poles, updated more than 270 substations, and prevented hundreds of thousands of outage hours with self-healing grid technology, so your power can come back on faster than ever. That's the smarter energy future Indiana deserves. Paid for by Duke Energy shareholders.
Today, you either innovate or evaporate. We are accelerating the pursuit of progress, from the foods we eat to the heights we soar, because this is Indiana, the innovation capital of the world. We rally visionaries across industries, investing connections as much as capital, and fuel our founders from dorm room to boardroom. Fuel your innovation with Elevate Ventures. Visit elevateventures.com.
You're driving along, you see the yellow vest. Underneath those yellow vests is a husband, a wife, a son, or daughter. Let them go home tonight, because everyone deserves to go home from work alive. Hi, this is Kelly Watson, business manager of Liona Laborers Local 1112, representing road workers all throughout East Central Indiana. Our laborers work to keep your roads safe to drive on. The best thing you can do is keep the roads safe for us to work on. Slow down, save a life. Learn more at Liona1112.org and feel the power with Liona.
Every hour of every day, Fox News Radio is there with the latest breaking news and information you rely on.
This is a Fox News Alert.
I'm Lisa Brady.
I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
With Fox News correspondents around the globe.
At the White House, Simon Owen in London.
On Capitol Hill, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
The news that matters most to you. The top headlines, all in one place. America is listening to Fox News Radio.
Updates hourly on the Talk of Muncie, the new WMUN. Want to hear more? Replays uploaded daily on WMUNmuncie.com. Now back to Delaware County Today with Steve Lindell, presented by Muncie Community Schools.
And we get into our local news summary now. These stories and more airing on all of our stations and now on WMUN.
I'm Bill Hemmer, and these are the most impactful moments.
Marion visits Muncie Central tonight. WMUN boys basketball game of the week. Tip schedule for 7:30. Alexandria visits LaPel on Oldies 101. Tip around 7:30 p.m. Video casts on a link as well as the live radio always. Court-appointed special advocate. That's what CASA stands for, and there's a